Hello everyone. Today we're talking about the 5 stages of growing a business from zero to scale. Most people think business growth is random. They think some people just make it and others don't. But real business growth follows stages. If you understand the stage you're in, you can make better decisions, avoid mistakes, and grow faster with less wasted effort. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 stages of growing a business, simple, clearly, and something that you can apply immediately. The first thing we're going to talk about today is why stages matter. The biggest mistake people make is using the wrong strategy for the wrong stage. What works at $0 won't work at $10,000, and what works at $10,000 won't work at $100,000. Okay, different stage, different focus. If you don't understand this, you'll overcomplicate early, underbuild later, and stay stuck in the middle. So let's discuss stage 1, the foundation. This is where, you're just getting started. This is where most people are. No audience, no system, no consistent income. Your goal here is simple. Find a real problem and prove people will pay for a solution. Okay, what to focus on? Define your audience. Identify one clear problem. Create a simple offer. A few things to remember. You can start with a service, a consultation, and a simple product. The stage is about validation, not scaling. Next stage we're going to talk about stage 2, traction. Now that once you're starting to see movement, you got to take a look at sales, your clients, and your engagement. Your goal here is to repeat what works. Really, you want to focus on consistent content, clear messaging, and improving your offer. A few key things not to do. You don't want to change direction every week. You don't want to chase trends or add too many ideas. Consistency is the key. If one type of content is working, continue to make more of it. Then go back and refine. This stage is about consistency. Most people quit here because they don't see fast results. But this is where momentum is built. Always remember that the compound effect is the 8th wonder of the world. So, just be consistent. Okay, stage 3, you got to think about systems. This is where structure and efficiency comes in. And you'll start seeing changes. You're getting results. Everything depends on you. Your goal is now, to turn effort into systems. You want to focus on building a content system, a lead capture system, and sales process. Instead of posting randomly, you create content, a lead magnet, email, and an offer. That's the structure you're looking for. What happens here is you have more predictability, better time use, and higher conversion. That's the key to being able to scale. It's the 4th stage we're talking about today is scale, which is where growth and expansion is key. Now your systems are working at this point. You're generating consistent leads, predictable income, Your goal becomes to increase output without losing quality. You want to focus on more content, better distribution, and optimizing conversions. You can take a quick look at some growth levers here. You want to increase traffic, improve conversion rates, and consider raising pricing. A few examples here are, more videos, could equal more leads. Better offers could equal higher revenue. You want to make sure though that you do not overcomplicate or add too many offers or lose clarity in your message. Scaling is not about doing more things. It's about doing more of what already works. Now let's go to stage 5, optimization and compounding. This is where real businesses are built. Everything is working. Now your focus shifts to refinement and long-term compounding. Let's take a quick look at what to optimize. Your conversion rates, your customer experience, and retention. What you need to build is your brand authority, long-term systems, and multiple income streams. Take a quick look at a few examples real quick. Existing content keeps bringing in more leads. Systems keep generating revenue, and growth becomes more stable. At this stage, small improvements create big results. Now let's discuss why most people stay stuck. Most people never grow because they try to scale before validation, build systems too early, switch strategies too often, or avoid consistency. They don't break things down into stages like they need to. Now let's go to section 7, how to identify your stage. You've got to ask yourself, are you making consistent income? Do you have a repeatable system? Are results predictable? Your answers tell you your stage. You got to remember at stage 1, you don't have any income. Stage 2, you should have some results. Stage 3, things might be inconsistent but still working. Stage 4 is predictable growth, and stage 5 is stable and scaling. You got to remember that business growth is not random. It's structured. Each stage builds off of the last stage. If you focus on the right actions at the right time, growth becomes predictable. Consistency is the key. If you want to learn how to move through each stage the right way, you can subscribe to Josh Delozer Investments. We discuss business strategy, investing, credit, and wealth building systems. We also discuss stocks, anything to do with money. We discuss. We appreciate everyone watching this video this week. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. We'll be more than happy to answer. And if you're serious about building something that lasts, just remember to start focusing on your stage today, because growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things at the right time. So you really want to focus on being consistent. That's the key here. And be sure to come back next week. We have another video. And, if you have any topics you'd like us to discuss at Josh Slozer Investments, we'll be more than happy to make a video on it. So just leave it in the comments section below, and we'll be sure to include your topic. Hope everyone has an amazing week.